If you know say you from Ghana, gather here because he don't bust. He don't bust. So when they own Nigeria money, now when they make noise, when they shout, say I'm here for up. Say I'm for up. When they own Nigerians 160 million US dollars for gas and when I never see pay. And when they make noise, when they say Ghana is better than Nigeria, how? How? As I dey like this, if I see any Ghanaian for road, if I hold am, I go first give am better blow for mouth. Because all of you are debtors. People should pay our money. If you dey waka for road, you see any Ghanaians, holy shit, harass am collect our money. And so we dey try to collect our money small small finish. Una broke, una get mouth. Una no know say who no get money dey gentle. Who no get money go gentle make dem help am, but una dey form pride. Una dey owe us money, still dey form pride. We go buy our money, we go collect our money. Bastard people.
Who they find a little means to just talk rubbish. You know, before I used to believe this thing that Ghana is owing Nigeria, but there's time I have to do my more research about it. I do more research about it. I find out that it was a fake news, and because Ghana was owing Nigeria, which is they already pay. Normally, go and do your research. If you think I'm lying, they already pay for it. Ghana is not owing Nigerian anymore. Go and go to the official Nigerian page and go and do research about it. There will not be any agreement there. There's nothing show that Ghana is owing Nigeria. All these foolish Nigerian youth. I was hearing somebody send me one video. Somebody was lying that. See, I know you just want to talk it because I don't have time for that. But what I know, Ghana is not owing Nigerian anything. Nigeria, think about your debt that you are owing people. The debt that Nigerian owing, they can never pay on this head go end. Nigerian can never pay the head, and they will still continue owing. I don't know why some of us, Nigerian youth, we know they are ashamed of ourselves. We just come and saying rubbish things, talking rubbish. How can you go to Naira Land website when anybody can go there? Even me, I can go to Naira, go and create something there, I post it there, and the thing will show on Google. I fit go there now, go and write say Ghana is no owing Nigerian nothing, and before tomorrow, the thing will appear on Google. That is how that website was. The website that you are claiming that see and there, that is Naira Land. I can go there and write something now saying that so day and so day Ghana government are paying so money in so day in so year. And before you know, it will show on Google. What are you telling us? Do you want to tell us? See, all these fake news, majority of us are bringing it. All the thing where they are saying that fake news they are bringing. Listen to Nigeria, what Nigerians are holding the whole war. The Nigerians can never pay, but let's listen to it. Then we'll come back.
Comment on my video. He say, brother, share Nigerian correct debt to all Nigerians. Make all man know how much him they owe. I beg. First of all, Koro, when they borrow this money, I know they there. So me, I know they owe. Okay. Now, Nigeria's total public debt as of June 30th, 2023, now $113.42 billion. That is $113,420,000,000. Now, both the federal government, state government, and including the FCT, they owe. Right? Now, the number of employed Nigerians right now is about 145.40 million Nigerians. Now they work, they pay debt. Now, why I use this particular figure? So, for easy calculation, we can approximate this figure to be 146 million Nigerians, right? If you divide the public debt, by the number of working Nigerians, you get 776 dollars 85 cents. Now, so today, one dollars now 1,235 naira. If you multiply by 776 dollars, you get 958,360 naira. What does this mean? It means if they won't share the money, the government the whole to all working Nigerians, right? Each working Nigeria go pay 958,360 naira. Now the big question is this: how many Nigerian workers get 958,000 naira for their account? Wahala deal.
This video is for the some useless Nigerian youth who always use social media thinking that Ghana is their problem. That is what this video is for. You can see the money you are owing. You see the calculation they do for the working one. Oh, this is how much we going to pay the one that is working, and you are bringing a fake information to social media. Say, hey, Nigeria do this, Nigeria owing Ghana, and they should come. The money you are owing on this generation and all the generation will come and go. Nigerians can never pay it. No one coming out to talk about that. Okay, let's go direct to what is happening in Ghana. How Nigerians are bringing underage to do ashawo in Ghana. Somebody sent me a video, but some people tell me to not be showing their face. But we got showing their face so that their parents to see, to know what their children coming to do, what they are bringing their children for. Then they will know how to protect their children. That is the reason why we are showing their face. Because if we don't show their face, they will not know them. But they have to know that this is what they are bringing their children for. If you know, say your children is in Ghana, and especially female children, find out what your pikin is doing there, listening to it.
Wetin be your name?
Angel
Where you from?
from Ogun.
Say I don't tell you say na ashawo work na you wan go do for Ghana.
Yes.
I force you.
No.
I hope say you no go fight your madam.
No.
I hope say when you reach there, you can't enter street. You go see your fellow girls, they go come confuse you, talk all lies, put for your madam head. You now you go come plan to go carry police or go carry police, go your madam. You go do like that.
No.
You will be a good girl, right?
Yes.
I don't tell you say you go face server finish before you become madam.
Yes.
All right.
Hello, Mr. Manager Naja. Good evening. Well done for the fantastic work that you are doing. You are creating a very good job. May God be with you. May God help you. And concerning this ashawo matter, I watched one of your video that you just post about that lady. Yeah, about that lady. That lady who says she came Ghana to do ashawo. And it's true. It's happening. And it's still happening. Seriously, Mr. Yamiza Naja, see, let me post one video for you. I want to, you see this video for you to take it and let people, let those who don't understand to know that yes, it still exists and they're still doing it. Yeah, means that they have some men in Nigeria who used to collect money and sell these girls, and they sell them to some madams, and they sell them for them to come and do a shower here in Ghana. That is what they are doing.
I hope you get that messaging correct. Underage, 16 to 17, they are bringing them to Ghana to come and do ashawo. In Ghana, yeah, that is what they are doing. Nigerian bringing. The reason why Ghanaians are talking about, if this thing continue like this, there are children going to copy from Nigerian, and that is the reason majority of Ghanaians are coming out and talking about it. Because when you continue bringing Nigerian in under age 16 to 17 here for this kind of thing, very soon you see the majority of Ghanaian children, majority of them, they are copying a lot of things from Nigerian, and Ghanaians want to stop from this, and that is the reason why majority of people are complaining about that. Be aware of that. Let's continue.
1963, 32 independent African states with genuine hopes and visions of the continent of Africa came together in Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, to create the Organization of African Unity, OAU. The OAU is the predecessor of the current African Union, also known as the AU. It started its operations on the 13th of September 1963, when its charter was adopted, committed to bring about change and freedom to many African countries and restore the dignity of African people. But the origins of the OAU were difficult. In fact, the idea almost collapsed before it could get off the ground because of ideological differences that were deeply rooted in the continent's colonial past. The formation of the OAU was rooted in the idea of Pan-Africanism, which originated in the US in the late 19th century. Thousands of blacks with African.
This one is also part of the unit of African, the unite of African, and the reason why African wasn't get that unit. That's what it is for.
origins found it intolerable to bear the organizing experience of racial discrimination and alienation. Some of the prominent leaders were Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey, who raised the flag of revolt against the prevailing injustice. Building on this, Marcus Garvey, a black nationalist, urged the return of Africans to the continent, which he attempted to facilitate through the establishment of a shipping company, the Black Star Line, aimed at transporting black Africans back to Africa. On the continent itself, several prominent intellectuals and heads of state, such as Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, Ahmed Sekou Touré of Guinea, and Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia, took up the cause of advancing the Pan-African ideal. A series of Pan-African congresses were convened to further the interests of African peoples and discuss.
Now that people's eyes don't open and they say let Africa unite, and they are calling all countries together to unite Africa, a lot of especially a lot of people not going to accept, and because of purpose, for one reason they are not going to accept because of Nigeria. Of course, you know, a lot of people not going to accept it to unite together because of Nigeria, because majority of African continents are not welcoming Nigeria. It's not like Nigerians are not going there, but they are not okay with Nigerians. And that is the reason why Africa will never unite again. It's not a cause of Africa will never unite again. Honestly, Africa will not unite again. I don't think. I don't think. Do you think Africa will unite again? No, never possible. Because everybody will prepare to be trying to change in country to be the best. Nobody ready to go or unite, and I don't think.
Methods to achieve a unification. When Ghana became independent in 1958, Kwame Nkrumah linked Ghana's independence to that of Africa, recognizing that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the continent. Nkrumah therefore established a series of conferences hosted in Accra between 1958 and 1960, with the aims of assisting countries still under colonial rule. During the conferences, Nkrumah presented a vision of the United States of Africa. To his disappointment, the majority of those in attendance were overwhelmingly against the idea. The disagreements led to emergence of three ideological blocs on the African continent, which included the Casablanca Group, Monrovia Group, and the Brazzaville Group. It is these three groups and their differences that would give birth to the OAU. Meeting in Casablanca, the capital of
In this new generation we are now, new century, people still believing that yes, people still believe that one day Africa are going to unite. People are still believing that Africa must unite. Some people still believe that thing as we are right now. But as for me, I don't believe that it will work. It's not a dream. Why it's not going to work? It's not going to work. Majority of this will be purposely because of Nigeria. And why? People love Nigeria. It's not like they don't love them to associate with them, but they don't love to use the same passports and the same currency. People are not really in love with that. Now, Nigeria is the problem that Africa not going to unite, because majority of African countries, they are not in love for staying together. They are not in love, but they accepted them in business and other things, but they don't accept them to stay together. It's not going to work.
Morocco in early 1961, Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Touré, Gamal Abdel Nasser, and Modibo Keïta resolved to strongly oppose colonialism, racism, neocolonialism, and formation of an African military high command. Other members of the group included Libya, Morocco, and Algeria. During the height of the Katanga secessionist movement in the Congo, the Casablanca powers resolved to extend support to Patrice Lumumba's efforts to oust the Belgians from the Congo, demanded French withdrawal from Algeria, and condemned the apartheid system in Southern Africa. Apart from being critical of the French nuclear testing in the Sahara, the group was also worried about neocolonial ties between France and its former colonies. So, Ghana and Guinea provided support to anti-West parties, which included to topple pro-French regimes in Francophone Africa by mobilizing support for radical forces from within and outside Africa. The members of the Casablanca Group aimed at building a United States of Africa, of which Nkrumah would be the head, with a common monetary, foreign, and defense policy. In contrast to the Casablanca Group was the Monrovia Group, named after the capital of Liberia, where they held their first ever meeting in May 1961. The Monrovia Group allied with the Brazzaville Group, which included Francophone states like Ivory Coast, Gabon, Niger, Senegal, Upper Volta, and Mauritania. In addition, it had members like Nigeria, Somalia, and Liberia. The group stood for protecting national sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the independence of its members. They were strictly opposed to the idea of a United States of Africa. They strongly defended the principle of mutual non-interference in interstate relations, although they welcomed interstate technical and economic cooperation. Instead of snapping
As you can see, Nkrumah tried possible best to unite African, and a lot of other African countries coming out to tell them, say Ghana too small. How can Ghana unite Africa? No, they're trying to bring discouraging. And now that people now getting to realize it, thank God in that time there wasn't unite African, because you should just thank God say that time they no unite Africa. If you say if Africa was unite by then, a lot of people going to regret about it. A lot of people going to regret, especially a lot of people. And why are they going to regret? It's because of what is happening right now today. That's why majority of people they will regret about it joining unit of African. Some people are happy when African that unite was not even possible. But people that not even accepted are the people suffering for it now.
ties with the West, the Monrovia Bloc sought Western cooperation in the process of promoting development. Several African leaders, including Tanzania's Julius Nyerere and Nigeria's Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, were supportive of the idea of African unity. But many felt that Nkrumah's grand vision for the United States of Africa was overreaching and risked dissolving the sovereignty and territorial integrity, a point of particular contention among countries who had recently gained independence and fought hard for their sovereignty. By the early 1960s, most of the independent African states had pledged allegiance to either the Monrovia or the Casablanca Group. And at this stage, majority had sided with the Monrovia Bloc, with 20 supporters out of the 27 independent African states at that time. To attract more members on either sides, both groups reached out to Ethiopia in January 1962. They sent out invitations to Ethiopia to attend their conferences. The Casablanca Group had a conference in Cairo, while the Monrovia Group had a conference in Lagos. Emperor Haile Selassie, the Ethiopian leader, used the invitations as an opportunity to mediate between the two factions. So, he attended the Monrovia Group conference in January 1962 in Lagos, Nigeria. While there, he lobbied to host the next conference in 1963 and promised to have the Casablanca powers in attendance. The emperor received no resistance since Ethiopia was seen as an acceptable venue by both groups who were desperate to get a solution to their disagreements. With the Monrovia Group on board, the Ethiopians, through its foreign minister, Ketema Yefru, reached out to the president of Guinea, Sekou Toure. During the Casablanca Group conference in June 1962, Haile Selassie invited Toure for a state visit to Ethiopia, which he duly accepted.
And now that it's not possible for Africans to unite again, but how can we love one another as African? Definitely, Nigeria is African, Ghana is other African, Cameroon is under African, Benin Republic is under African, Togo is also under African. They call down, if they say Togo, they will say a continent of African, right? So how can we unite ourselves? Forget about the United States of Africa. It's not going to be possible. But right in this new day that we are now, how can we unite ourselves? Because when you talk about unity of Africa, the majority of people are saying it, the only problem African have now is Nigeria. Majority of people are not going to accept. I always saying it in my video that Majority of people not going to accept because majority of African countries are complaining a lot about Nigeria. But what is the particular? What can we do to solve this Nigerian problem? What can we do?
At the visit, the emperor pointed out that the conflicting views of the Monrovia and Casablanca groups could create a permanent division on the continent, and advised the Guinean delegation that it was in the best interest of both governments to stop such a drastic occurrence from taking place. In the end, the two heads of state issued a communique that stated that both governments believed the gap between the two blocs was soaring. Therefore, to protect the continent from falling into harm's way, the governments of Ethiopia and Guinea had called an all-African summit conference in Addis Ababa, hoping to resolve the differences that had existed between the Casablanca and Monrovia blocs. By May 1963, 32 independent African states had accepted the invitation to attend the All-Independent African Conference in Addis Ababa that included, above all, drafting a new charter. Reconciling the two rival groups was simple because both groups were moving in the same direction and had a lot in common. Eventually, they concentrated on cooperating on the issues of common concern coupled with mediatory effects of Ethiopia. During the conference, the charter of the OAU was adopted as an outcome of a compromise between the two contradictory approaches. On the one hand, the charter pledged to oppose colonialism, racism, and neocolonialism, which satisfied the Casablanca powers. And on the other hand, it comforted the Monrovia group by upholding the principle of non-interference and defense of territorial sovereignty in interstate affairs. After some deliberations, 32 heads of state signed the OAU Charter in Addis Ababa on the 25th of May 1963, marking the birth of the OAU. One of OAU's greatest achievements was the help it provided to liberation movements like the ANC and ZANU in Southern Africa to dismantle the white minority rule. African states under the OAU provided training grounds and sanctuary to these guerrillas until the South African states achieved their independence. A further achievement of the OAU was its encouragement of developmental regional economic communities such as the ECOWAS, SADC, among others. It was also successful over the years in trying to mediate in conflicts between states. For example, it helped mediate a border dispute between Algeria and Morocco and between Somalia, Ethiopia, and Kenya. Apart from bringing about reconciliation between two groups, the OAU had to own up Africa's colonial past. To perpetuate interstate harmony, the founding fathers of the OAU Charter legitimized the interstate boundaries drawn by colonial powers, primarily during the Berlin Conference of 1885. By accepting the status quo on the issue of state frontiers, the OAU Charter left the gate for likely outburst of ethnic and secessionist movements wide open, sowing one of the most important seeds of interstate conflicts. Against the backdrop of the Cold War, the OAU faced considerable challenges to the execution of its objectives. Since its inception,
Thank you. We need possible best to tell ourselves the truth as African when we are wrong. When anyone or other African countries is doing something that is wrong, we need to tell ourselves the truth and correct ourselves because I don't think they are going to be united. But at least we should have that love for ourselves. I think this is where I will end the video for today. And thank all of you for your supporting, your subscribe, your comment, everything I thought you're doing. You're sending me video to audio, voice note and all. Just want to say thank all of you all for your supporting. God bless you for now. Just want to say bye bye.